The 2023 NFL Draft is now officially open. The Carolina Panthers are on the clock.
Allow me to introduce you to Simeon Scott, but first, let me take you back to his junior season in high school. 16-year-old kid, playing football, living his dream. Simeon was roughly about 6'1", 175 pounds, young kid from Texas, DeSoto, Texas to be exact. And like most kids his age, he just loved to compete. His size made him a walking mismatch on the football field, and he would dominate DBs all season. Simeon really was a late bloomer in football, but nonetheless, he's here now and was starting to get his name known around the state. He would even receive some looks early on after his first couple games from in-state schools. Being that he was only a junior, he didn't have to make a commitment this early, but it was still cool to watch his rise in the rankings in the state. See, Simeon isn't a natural football player. He really just grew up loving to compete in all sports, whether it was baseball, kickball, basketball. Wherever there was a competition, you would see Simeon. And obviously there's pros and cons to it. He doesn't have natural wide receiver tendencies or abilities, but I mean, when you're 6'1" at 16 years old and already 180 pounds, there's not really much technique you really need on the football field in high school to get the job done. And even though his quarterback play wasn't the greatest, he would still receive offers and scholarships early on in his junior season. And without making any commitments yet, he continued to put up numbers on the football field, keeping his focus the main thing. And the main thing was dominating. At this point, it was only a matter of time before the big 5-star schools started coming down to watch some of his games. And as a kid from Texas, it was his dream to go to an in-state school like Texas, Baylor, Texas A&M. But he would keep his mind and options open. He knew that the more he started to dominate on the football field, the more schools from out of state would start to reach out. And that's exactly what happened, especially after this play right here, where he goes up with one hand, snags the ball down after two defenders were on him, seemingly covered up. And the more reps he got, the more Simeon would start to develop wide receiver tendencies like keeping his toes in, getting a good release off the ball so he can get open in the middle of the field. As the season would continue, he would rise to a top 10 receiver in the state of Texas for his junior class. And while DeSoto wasn't the greatest team in the world, they were good enough to make national rankings as well as get more notoriety, which meant more eyes on Simeon. And more eyes didn't fade Simeon at all, as he would continue to put up monster numbers. Most notable, a 315-yard game with 3 touchdowns got the eyes of Baylor, Texas A&M, and others, as he would receive scholarships to these big-time schools that he used to dream of. And the only question was, could Simeon's focus stay on the football field for his senior season, or did he have other aspirations? Simeon closed the senior season out with 1,200 yards and almost 20 touchdowns, rising him up to a 4-star recruit, receiving big-time offers from schools like LSU and Texas. But as the story is written, Simeon would go on to play basketball after the football season, and then going into his senior season, he decided to drop football entirely and focus completely on basketball. While it was a shock to everyone across the state and across the country that scouted him, to Simeon, it was his plan all along. Simeon would grow from 6'1" to 6'4" his senior season and cook up on the basketball court, rising all the way up to a 5-star recruit for his lockdown defense, athletic ability out of the gym. He couldn't shoot the ball worth the lick, but the college scouts convinced Simeon that, hey, if you come to our university, we'll work on that shooting for him. Just bring that intensity, bring that athleticism, leave the dribbling behind, and hey, we'll work on everything else when you get here. After narrowing down his list to 5 potential universities, Simeon made his mind up, and after careful thought, he committed to the University of Oklahoma, where they offered him a chance to be an impactful freshman off the bench. And well, it was there that Simeon realized the lies that are told in the NCAA recruiting process, as Simeon would never see the light of the court, as Oklahoma basically made him a redshirt freshman. It was at this point where Simeon, for the first time in his career, felt alone, dark, and nobody to turn to, until he got a call from an unlikely source.
Yo, Simeon, what's good? This Trey from high school. I was the QB from Highland Park. You know, the one school that beat y'all by 45 your junior year? Well, yeah, I've been keeping up with your story, and I'm seeing you not getting a chance over there at OU. They got you riding the bench looking sad as hell on TV. See me, I ended up going to Tulsa, and they had me playing backup quarterback all season, so I get what you going through. We was some trash, so coach finally put me in the last 2 games, and I did my thing. They telling me I'm guaranteed to start my sophomore year and take over the team. And I know you probably like, why is this fool calling me to brag on himself? Well, I saw what you did to us in high school, and I want you to come back to football and transfer to Tulsa to be my receiver. I mean, it's only a couple hours away from OU, and I already showed the coaches your high school tape, and they remember recruiting you before you switched to basketball. Now look, we definitely got a couple of solid receivers and a dog at running back, so you definitely gonna have to earn your spot through practice, but I know you gonna kill it. Maybe you need a fresh start, clean cut. I know you still in shape, so I mean, let me know what you think. and hit me back, gang.
After the call from Trey, Simeon's decision was very clear. He would hit the transfer portal in the offseason and make his way to Tulsa, Oklahoma, where he would hit the practice field in the rain and show the coaches why he was a good fit for this team. See, quarterback Trey Preston already showed the coaches Simeon's highlights from high school, but they still wanted to make sure this is the same kid they recruited from his junior season. Despite playing in the rain, Simeon and Trey had a good connection. Even though there was some miscues early, Simeon still put up quite an impressive showing considering he'd been playing basketball for his last 2 seasons. All of a sudden, he goes from riding the bench for University of Oklahoma to be an important factor to this team. And with running back DJ Prince, quarterback Trey Preston, Tulsa's offense will be very formidable as Simeon will make the team as a 3rd string receiver and have to earn his way up through practice. And that's exactly what he planned on doing. Getting his reps in with Trey, building that chemistry up, and honestly, it didn't take that long for Trey and Simeon to develop that connection. Simeon's routes were getting a little bit more crisp. And listen, Trey was already a 4-star quarterback coming out of high school, so these two were ready to ball out for this season. Simeon had a point to prove. He's a freshman. He was a redshirt last year. Everybody on national TV saw this kid go from a 5-star recruit to a bench warmer. And thanks to Trey, he came back into his roots, humbled himself, and he's now ready to show the world why he's a 5-star athlete, not just a football player, not just a basketball player. And while practice was going well for Simeon, it wasn't perfect. He was catching balls, he was making good routes, but the coach is looking at the small things like when do you call for the ball? Do you make good important blocks? And he wasn't doing a lot of the small things that receivers should be doing on the football field, which is what held him back from maybe earning the 2nd string spot early on. But there was still a lot of excitement for what Trey, Simeon, DJ, and the rest of this Tulsa offense could put on the football field come week 1. And despite some miscues during practice, still a great session for both sides of the football as the defense will get after it. And ladies and gentlemen, it's about that time. And there's only one way you can end off a great practice, right? It's only right that Trey will find Simeon cutting up for a go route and end the practice with a touchdown as he would get ready to start his first collegiate football game as a 3rd string slot receiver. And off the rip, obviously as a 3rd stringer, you're not getting a majority of the targets, but when Trey would look his way, Simeon was ready, getting right back to what he did best his junior season in high school. And this time around, he's actually returning kicks. And as you can see here, bro is not the greatest at returning kicks, but his bread and butter was as the receiver. And as a receiver, you had to figure out how you could still be impactful on the field without getting targets. And without getting targets, you have to get blocks as a receiver. You have to throw your body out for your team. You have to be a real team player. That's something that he felt like he lacked early on in high school, but he started to develop now on the football field naturally, as he would throw out an important block right here, letting his receiver get some extra yards at DJ Prince. And when the quarterback and coaches notice you doing the small things, it opens up big plays for you down the field, as Simeon would get his first big-time college play as he goes for 25 yards on 1 catch, marching his team right downfield, and down 14-0, they were in desperate need of a touchdown, and that's exactly what Simeon is here to do. Just like he did in high school, Simeon is back in that end zone, scoring his first career touchdown pass. You know this felt good for Simeon, man. He's been through a lot in the last year or so, and he finally got back in that end zone just like he used to do in high school. And it seemed like that touchdown woke the whole team up as Trey would connect to Simeon once again. And on the following play, with 18 seconds left, down 7, Trey would find receiver Stokes on the outside for the easy touchdown, and the team would celebrate as they would tie the game up right before halftime. Coming out of halftime, the team might have been a little too charged up as Trey would try to force a double team throw to Simeon without even calling for the ball. And Trey's bad decision would set the defense up for a bad spot as Bowling Green would score and the offense came back in the field with a mindset to tie the game. Simeon got his welcome to college moment as he would get laid out after making a catch over the middle, but he would get right back up as any competitor would, and he would run this perfect route up the sideline, tight roping, and Trey put it right on a beam for him, and he would catch it, setting the team up right at the goal line for an easy chance to score. And that's exactly what they did as DJ Prince ran it in the end zone. Right before the end of the 3rd quarter, Tulsa's offense was back on the field with a chance to score, and Trey put it on a laser beam to Simeon in the back of the end zone as Simeon would score his 2nd career touchdown off a great throw. I had to replay it back, bro. Thanks in large part to this touchdown, Tulsa will go ahead and finish this game off with a win. Simeon will finish his first college game with 93 and 2 touchdowns. And when you get great performances from your quarterback and your starting running back, great things happen. Simeon's play was so great that the coaches let him compete for the 2nd string spot in the next practice, but it just seemed like things were not going right as Simeon and Trey were just off, and Simeon would drop passes that he normally hangs on to. I don't know if he woke up late, but Simeon was just off today. His brain wasn't working as it normally does. Maybe he's not used to competing for a receiver spot. Maybe he's used to things being handed to him. Maybe he's not used to some of these routes as he was supposed to stop for a curl route and instead did a go route, and the quarterback Trey threw it up and got it picked. I mean, by the time Simeon finally got his first catch of the practice, they were already 10 reps deep with only 5 reps to go, and it was a little bit too late as he would get smacked over the middle trying to make a slant catch, and there's really no better way to close out a subpar position battle, then throw in a negative screenplay, and Simeon would fail his first ever position battle, but not to worry, as he would come out and still be ready to ball in Tulsa's first home game against Colorado State. I mean, hey, who needs practice anyway when he could ball out in the game? But early on, there was a little struggle as Simeon was not getting the looks that he felt like he should be getting. He was getting open, but hey, the coaches told Trey after that last practice, be smart with the football in the game. This is not practice. So Trey was just, wow. As soon as I said be smart with the football, Trey would throw an interception to the other side of the field when Simeon was seeming to be open, and then a pick six in Tulsa's first home opener in the first quarter. And Tulsa's just been getting off to rough starts, but not to worry, it's only the first quarter and only down 10-zip. Trey would thread the needle to Simeon right here as he got open between two defenders and finally get something going on the offensive side for this first quarter. And hey, we mentioned it in the first game, when you're not getting the ball, you got to find ways to impact the game, and that's exactly what Simeon did, throwing out a crucial block to help Trey get a runoff. And when you help your quarterback, the quarterback finds you, and you will find Simeon over the middle, and Tulsa will finally tie the game back up. It's 10-10 with a little bit over 2 to go in the second quarter. Trey and Simeon's connection was only getting stronger as he would find Simeon cutting up the field. And I think it's safe to say Trey is a volume passer, because after finding Simeon, he will find Keelan Stokes on the left side of the field. Stokes will take it all the way to the end zone, putting Tulsa up by 2 scores going into halftime. It looked like Tulsa was finding their stride until Simeon made a poor decision and called for the ball, not noticing the defender lurking underneath, and Trey threw it right to the defender, causing another interception. Thankfully, the Tulsa's defense only gave up a field goal, and it seemed like Trey and Simeon's connection was just a tad bit off. But you know, they say it only takes one play, and that's exactly what happened. As Simeon would get open in the middle of the field, Trey would throw it on a laser beam to him, and just like that, these two are back on track. And we have to put the interceptions behind, man. This is a young core. This is a young duo. They're building chemistry. They're taking time together, and that's exactly what happens here, as he would throw it on the outside to Simeon, and Simeon will work his way around to turn a negative play into a 5-yard play. And as Tulsa is marching down the field at the end of the third quarter, Trey puts it on the laser beam to Simeon right at the 1-yard line, and Simeon is cooking. Quiet as it's kept, him and Trey have developed a great connection despite having a terrible practice, despite the miscues in the game. You make adjustments, you talk to the coaching staff to see what you got to do, and then you set up your running back to score an easy 1-yard touchdown, putting Tulsa up big to close out this game. We're in the fourth quarter, and Simeon is still getting open, cutting up. Trey is finding him. Tulsa will go on to win this game big. Despite not scoring a touchdown, Simeon will still put up 8 catches for 106 yards, making it a great day. With Trey's bounce back and DJ Prince having a good solid day, Tulsa's offense was starting to heat up, and they would have another position battle or practice, but this time it was personal. Simeon is going against his former school, the school that put him on the bench on national TV as a 5-star recruit in basketball. Simeon has had this game circled ever since he got the call from Trey to come to Tulsa. This was a big time game and a big deal for Simeon. But Simeon and Trey could just not get on the same page during practice. I don't know if it was the play calling. I don't know if their chemistry is just not as high as it looks in the game. And after getting off to a very slow start, once again, Simeon and Trey would have huge ground to make up if you want Simeon to get a chance to earn his second string spot on the outside. But listen, hey, Simeon has always been competitive. He will be begging for the ball to close practice out. He only had 4 reps to earn this spot against his former school, and that's exactly what his mindset was. He was cooking the DBs at the end of this practice. Hey, no matter what the route was, Simeon was trying to get his hands on the ball and take it from there. In his mind, there was nobody that was going to be able to stop him from earning his second string spot. He got so desperate, he even ran his own route at the end of the practice just to get open. And we made it to the end of the position battle. This is Simeon's last chance to earn his spot before his big game. All he needed to do was make 1 catch, and the job was his. Will he be lining up in the slot for his big game against Oklahoma? Or will he be lining up on the outside with a chance to make big time plays? Find out what happens if you get this video to 50 likes. In the meantime, I really appreciate y'all. Leave me some feedback in the comments. And until next video, as always, thank you for watching. Go drink some water. Peace.